Welcome to the video. Today we're tackling a tough but common dilemma. Whether to use your down payment savings to pay off high-interest credit card debt or to keep saving for a house. We will explain why paying off the debt first is typically the best financial move, walk through a practical flowchart, and build a step-by-step plan you can follow. Then, we'll test your knowledge with quick quizzes and wrap with key takeaways. Let's begin by laying out our agenda. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll define the dilemma and why high-interest debt is so dangerous. Next, we'll walk through a mandatory flowchart to prioritize your moves. Then, we'll detail your emergency fund and budgeting systems. After that, we'll discuss how to save aggressively for a down payment once you're debt-free. Finally, we'll test your knowledge and summarize. Now, let's set up the core dilemma. The core dilemma is straightforward. You have money saved toward a down payment, but you also hold high-interest credit card debt. Should you keep saving for a home or redirect those funds to eliminate the debt first? We'll show why the math overwhelmingly favors paying off the debt before pursuing homeownership. With that context set, let's quantify the problem. Here's the math. Credit card APRs commonly exceed 20%, while high-yield savings accounts typically yield 3 to 5%. And long-term stock market averages hover around 7% with risk. Knocking out a 22% interest rate is effectively a risk-free 22% return, which outperforms any safe alternative. Carrying that kind of debt into a mortgage increases monthly strain and magnifies financial risk. Paying the debt first frees up cash flow and makes your future mortgage safer. Now that the why is clear, let's operationalize a decision framework. Follow this sequence. First, if you have high-interest debt at 20% or more, use current savings to eliminate it immediately. Second, construct an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of your total expected expenses, including future homeownership costs. Third, implement a robust, sustainable budget with automation to prevent relapses into debt. Fourth, once you're debt-free and protected, aggressively save for the down payment and closing costs. Fifth, proceed to buy only when your debt-to-income ratio is healthy and your cash cushion is intact. With the path set, let's turn it into concrete action steps for today. Start by listing each debt, its APR, and balance. Next, use the funds you had earmarked for a down payment to pay off any balances with APRs of 20% or higher. If there is remaining lower interest debt, choose a payoff strategy such as the avalanche or snowball. Then, calculate a 3 to 6 month emergency fund target based on your projected homeowner expenses, not just your current rent. Automate transfers on payday and enforce category limits in your budget. Only after you are debt-free and have your emergency fund in place should you redirect surplus cash to the down payment. Next, let's apply this logic with a quick scenario quiz. Quiz time. You have $20,000 saved for a down payment and $15,000 of credit card debt at 22% APR, while your savings earns 4% APY. What is the best first move? Option A. Use the $15,000 to fully pay off the credit card debt now. Option B. Keep saving for the house and make minimum payments. Option C. Invest the $20,000 in stocks to try to beat 22%. Option D. Split the $20,000 between savings and debt. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to use the $15,000 to fully pay off the credit card debt now. Paying off a 22% APR is effectively securing a risk-free return that far outpaces a 4% savings yield or the uncertain outcomes of the stock market. This action reduces risk and improves monthly cash flow. Next, let's detail the emergency fund you'll build after the debt is gone. Your emergency fund is your financial fortress. Target 3 to 6 months of living expenses, but calculate this based on your expected homeowner costs, including repairs, property taxes, insurance, and utilities. Keep this money in a safe, liquid account like a high-yield savings or money market account. With the goal defined, here's a conceptual map of what belongs in that fund. This mind map places the emergency fund at the center and branches into 5 areas. First, size indicates 3 to 6 months of expenses. Second, cost to include covers the full range of recurring and homeowner-specific expenses, such as mortgage or rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, transportation, property taxes or HOA dues, and routine repairs and maintenance. Third, storage highlights keeping the money in a high-yield savings or money market account for safety and liquidity. Fourth, purpose clarifies that the fund covers job loss, unexpected home repairs, or medical issues. Fifth, rules dictate that you should not invest these funds, use them only for true emergencies, and replenish them immediately after use. Now let's see how this impacts your monthly plan. This table compares a pre-home budget to a projected homeowner budget. Notice the shift. Debt payments drop to zero after payoff, but housing, utilities, insurance, and repairs increase. The emergency fund contribution also increases to build or maintain your cushion. This illustrates why carrying high-interest debt into homeownership is risky. The higher total outflows reduce margin for error. Next, let's clarify what it means to be ready versus not ready to buy. On the left, not ready conditions include carrying high-interest debt, having little to no emergency fund, spending leaks in your budget, and a strained debt-to-income ratio with minimal cash reserves. On the right, ready conditions include being free of toxic interest, holding 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash, employing an automated and disciplined budget, and maintaining a healthy debt-to-income ratio alongside a solid cushion. With readiness defined, let's bust a few myths using a quick markdown recap. Here are 3 common myths and their realities. First myth: saving for a down payment is always the top priority. Reality: high-interest debt destroys wealth faster than savings can accumulate. Second myth: carrying a credit card balance builds credit. Reality: credit utilization and on-time payments are what matter. Carrying a balance simply costs you interest. Third myth: managing both a mortgage and credit card debt is fine. Reality: homeowner costs often spike, and risk compounds if you lack a cash cushion. Now, let's check your understanding with a second quick quiz. Second quiz: before resuming down payment saving, how large should your emergency fund be? Option A: 1 month of rent-only expenses. Option B: 3 to 6 months of total future homeowner-level expenses. Option C: 12 months of income. Option D: no emergency fund is needed if you have a stable job. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is 3 to 6 months of total future homeowner-level expenses. This means including the mortgage, utilities, insurance, property taxes or HOA, and an allowance for repairs and maintenance. The goal is to prevent surprises from pushing you back into debt. Next, let's visualize the overall journey from where you are to a safe home purchase. This timeline begins with taking inventory of your debts and APRs. Over the next several weeks, you deploy savings to eliminate any balances with 20% or higher interest, and stabilize cash flow with autopay and reduced variable spending. In months 2 through 6, you complete any remaining payoff and build your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses. From months 6 to 18, you aggressively save for the down payment and closing costs. Before pre-approval, confirm your debt-to-income ratio and your cash cushion and gather rate quotes. Finally, at closing, maintain the cushion and avoid new debt as you move in. Now, let's crystallize today's key takeaways. These are the core takeaways. First, eliminate high-interest debt before anything else because the effective return is superior and risk-free. Second, build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund tailored to homeowner-level expenses. Third, implement a solid budget to avoid relapse. Fourth, once secure, save aggressively for your down payment and closing costs. Finally, remember that delaying the purchase is not failure. It's a rational investment in long-term stability. Next, we'll wrap up the entire discussion. In summary, paying off high-interest debt is the superior, immediate investment. An emergency fund is mandatory before buying. Budget discipline and automation protect your progress. Once secure, you can save aggressively and buy with confidence. Before we close, here's an important disclaimer. This content is educational and not individualized financial advice. Everyone's situation is unique, and you should consider consulting a licensed, fiduciary financial advisor who can provide guidance tailored to your circumstances. With that said, if this helped you think more clearly about the debt versus home decision, we'd appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more practical money frameworks. In the comments, share your plan, including your debt payoff date, your emergency fund target, and your dream home goal. See you in the next one.